Well, welcome to this session on using games to teach core content. My name is John Dillon, and I'll be your host. Today, we're going to explore how you can use a game as a vehicle for effectively delivering your instructional message. Most of you are probably using PowerPoint as your primary presentation device. In this session, we will show you an alternative method of delivery that we think will energize your instruction and motivate your students. So why use a game to teach core content? Primarily because a game changes the dynamic of the learning experience. It answers the question, how do I engage my audience? Which is one of the major things that most instructors want to do. We're looking for ways to really get our students involved in the learning process. And a game can do exactly that. To get started, let's take a look at what PowerPoint does for us, and then we'll show you how a game can deliver the same content. To understand how we're going to use a game to accomplish the same objectives we do with a traditional PowerPoint lecture, we need to take a step back and just look at PowerPoint for a second and ask ourselves this question. How does PowerPoint help me deliver my content? Simply by bullet points, images, or text. And really, it's my guide through the content I want to deliver to my audience. And if you can understand that, it's very easy to see how we can use a game to accomplish the same objective. So let me show you here some examples of how we're going to use the game to deliver core content. If you look closely, the questions here really are my means to drill down and go through the same information that I would traditionally go through in a standard lecture or PowerPoint lecture format. So my first question here is something I always talked about in my standard lecture, and I referenced this rule. So I'd read the question, my class would give me an answer, or in this case a team would give me an answer, and now I'm going to stop, and I brought in some simple text that I copied from another source to talk in greater detail about this OSHA rule and why we have to sit through this training on an annual basis. Another example kind of really emphasizes how you can repurpose some of your information you already have in PowerPoint. So in this case, I used a slide in the preview function so that each question has the ability to have a preview slide where you can set up a question. So simply here, what I wanted to do was have a visual for my class to see what an N95 mask looks like, just in case they didn't. And then I have a question here that's relevant. When should you get rid of or dispose of an N95 mask? And there's more than one answer, but I only have really one option of an answer here. But what I wanted to do after the question is talk about the other reasons when an N95 mask should be disposed of. So I just brought a slide simply from PowerPoint, and now I'm going to stop and talk about this information just like I would in a lecture format. So the difference is, of course, is the game is allowing me to engage my audience, make them an active participant, where I can deliver the same information, but the difference is they're going to get more out of the class because I'm really making it a much more engaging process for them. In my final example, this is a different style of question. This happens to be an open-ended. There are a lot of reasons for open-ended questions, but the reason here was if I would have put the actual answer, which was Typhoid Mary, I felt it would have been too simple for the class to answer it. So I left it as open-ended to give it a little more of a challenge. Now in this particular example, this is really a good example of how I'm going to use a question really as a fulcrum to talk about additional teaching points. In fact, I never referenced Mary Malone in my standard lecture, but there are some other key points I really want to emphasize here, so I'm using this question as an opportunity to talk about additional points. So like in PowerPoint, I have an image here, and I know I'm going to talk about 4 or 5 key points. I certainly can put those key points here on the slide, but I've done the presentation enough where really this is just a visual cue to me of what I want to talk about. As you can see, by just following a few simple guidelines, you can use a game to deliver just about any content in a way that's going to be fun and engaging for your students in your classroom. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I encourage you to contact us with comments or suggestions or to find out more on how you can use games to teach. Until then, you have a great day.